Regular meeting of the Coralville City Council to order. It is August 13th, 2024. Could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Knutson?
Here.
Vogelsang? Wynn?
Here.
Peterson? Here. Goodrich?
Here.
All council members except Vogelsang are present, as is the mayor, the city clerk, the city attorney, and other staff. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Moved by Wynn,
Second.
seconded by Goodrich. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. Next item, community comments. This is a time for community members to speak to us about items that aren't on the agenda or items that are on the agenda but are not subject to a public hearing. Each speaker will have 5 minutes, and we do reserve the right to adjust both the individual speaking time and the overall comment period based on the number of speakers or any accommodations that a speaker might need. Is there anyone that would like to address us this evening? Okay, does not look like it, so we will move on to the next item. Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank, final seeding and trees. This is a public hearing, and this project is for the final seeding and planting of trees for the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank project. Bids for this project are due on August 15th. So I'll start by opening the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak to us on this? And do we have any written comments? No written. Okay, I'll close the public hearing and we will consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the plan, specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract, ordering bids, setting a date for the receiving of said bids, and directing the posting of the bid letting, all for the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank final seeding and trees, is introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Questions or comments on this item? Okay, roll call, please.
You want Sherry to show you where this?
Oh, are you, well, I don't have
I do.
a report on here, but I would love, on the list, but I would love to hear more about
Okay,
it.
thanks, Madam Mayor. All right, this is a public hearing for the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank final seeding and tree planting for this project. This, I just want to remind everyone, the area that we're talking about is the 3 reaches that we started construction on in February. Reach 1 is located between 380 and 80 here on the northeast part of this interchange. Becky's Creek is on the southeast part of the interchange and runs up through just west of Clear Creek Ballpark and through the flow trail area. And then Reach 3 is just to the east of Altmeyer Family Park and Disc Golf Course, and runs from the basically one end of the park to the other end of the park. We pulled this out at the time of bidding because we felt we would get a totally different type of contractor who would do this type of work versus all of the grading and treatments that we have for all of the water quality and controls that we're doing along Clear Creek. So this is a different bid, but all part of the same funding stream there with the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank. And when we bid this, we have 5 different types of seeding mixes for the different areas of the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank. And I just wanted to just kind of touch on those just because it is all of these seeding areas then will be maintained and managed both by our city staff and possibly by contractors throughout the life of the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank. So we have the bank full bench seeding mix, including both prairie grasses, long and short, sedge mixes and wildflower mixes. And so when you think about how that bench comes up and the places that will flood quite frequently, we want those really long native grasses, those really long native plants to grab that, have sometimes 6 to 12 to 18 feet in root structure that are going to hold those banks together. Then when we talk about buffer, that's another seeding area, and that's out of banks. Think the top, think the very edge along the very edges of the mitigations. And those will also be some emphasis on grasses, but also a lot of emphasis on prairie wildflowers. We're going to add a lot of color into the prairie areas here along this area of the Clear Creek Trail and the Clear Creek Greenbelt. Then in our understory mixes, where we'll have a lot of trees, we'll have grasses, sedges, rushes, and forbs that grow in those shadier environments. We'll have oxbow seeding mix, a lot of plants that like to have their feet wet. And hopefully, like this year, we'll get several times where we get a bankful event as well as fill those oxbows up. They look like little ponds right now, and then they filter through and hold that water here in Coralville. And then our stream bank seeding mix, of course, is very similar to that buffer seeding mix. Again, grabbing long root structures, and we want all those to be there. And then trees for this, we have 15 different species of hardwood trees that are going to be planted. In Reach 1, we're putting in 1,223 trees. In Becky's Creek, we're putting in 223 trees. And Reach 3 is really an area where we don't need a lot of trees, but we are putting in 15 pawpaw trees. And this will be the first time we've planted pawpaw trees here in a park system, in our park system. And if you're not familiar with pawpaw, it is native to the Midwest, and it's the largest edible fruit that is native in the United States and grows in our climate. So we're kind of excited to see those grow. There is a pawpaw grove down in my hometown of Columbus Junction. So it's kind of neat to see those trees fruit out and be able to eat them. And then all of these trees, it's kind of a citrusy, kind of a combination. It's got I guess think pineapple, mango, kind of that kind of a taste. Yeah. You don't want to eat the seeds or the
Really good.
seed. The seeds or the skin of it. You just want to eat the fruit of it. And then in these tree plantings, you'll see a combination of both gallon containers, 2-gallon containers, and then whip-sized trees that we'll be planting. We did pull out Becky's Creek as far as who would be doing those plantings, trying to find ways that we can save in our budget areas. And our city staff will be taking on, as one of our work days, to plant all of those 200 trees across a few days. The engineer's estimate for this project is $467,950. Any amendments, questions that come up tonight will be addressed in the morning and loaded. And then bids are accepted until Thursday, August 17th at 10 a.m. at the office of the city clerk. And then they will be opened at the same time, 10 a.m. on Thursday here in the council chambers.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments or discussion or presentations or anything? Any more questions about the flavor of the fruit?
I have a couple of questions.
All right.
I've never heard of it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. The cost for these planting, is it includes everything, like all the tree, all the seed and everything, or is that an additional cost on top of these?
It's all included in the budget, including protections for the trees, mobilization, everything that's needed to plant them and establish them and get them ready then, except for, I think it calls for watering through the planting time, and then we take over watering after that.
And then, I don't know if you have thought about opening up the tree planting to the general public, so that if anybody would like to help plant tree.
Yeah, we could consider that. We had a very successful planting during COVID where we had a sign up to plant.
Yeah.
And so we could have a very controlled environment and make sure that tree is planted in very a manner to which it's going to survive, have a great survivability, and I could see doing something like that.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Okay, are we ready to vote? Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Quinn,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson. Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, Well 16 Tree Clearing Project. In advance of Well 16 improvements, trees need to be cleared, and the public hearing for this will be on August 27th, 2024, and bids are due on September 3rd. Could I have the resolution, please?
Resolution setting the public hearing for plan, specification, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the Well 16 tree clearing project, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Questions or discussion on this item? All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, Brown Deer Golf Course Mower Loan Agreement. This loan agreement will finance the purchase of a 2020 John Deere rough mower, and the public hearing for this will be on August 27th, 2024. Could I have that resolution, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing on the proposal to enter into a 36-month loan agreement with Wells Fargo for a 2020 John Deere 909 rough mower for the Brown Deer Golf Course, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Questions on this item? Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive intersection improvements. This grant application with the Iowa Department of Transportation is due on August 15th. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving a traffic safety improvement program, grant application and maintenance assurance for Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive intersection improvements, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by. Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Questions on this item?
Why this intersection?
Well, the first reason is this intersection really came up on our radar over the winter. The MPOJC produces a report every 2 years that lists the top 10 collision intersections in the metropolitan area. So that's Coralville, Iowa City, North Liberty, Tiffin, et cetera. And this intersection actually ranked number 7 out of 10. And as stated in the memo, since January of 2022, we've had 31 recorded collisions and a number of minor injuries reported with those. If you go back even further, I think the number included in the traffic analysis was 42 recorded accidents. So even though it ranks as number 7 in the MPOJC metro area, when you look at just Coralville, it's the 4th highest collision location. But the top 3 are actually, 2 of those are on Highway 6, and 1 of those is on Coral Ridge Avenue at Commerce Drive, where we've kind of done just about everything we can as far as improvements goes, lane widening, traffic signals, et cetera. So this is the one intersection of those, the intersections that we have in that top 10 list that we have a really great opportunity to do something about the current safety situation. So originally, when Heartland Drive was upgraded ahead of the opening of Costco, the turn lanes were added at the intersection of Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive with the intent of eventually adding traffic signals. However, as time has passed, roundabouts have become our preferred intersection option whenever we can make that happen. So, and as noted, it's not spelled out exactly in here, but one of the most common causes of accidents at that intersection are drivers on the side street. So Commerce Drive or the southerly Costco driveway, they have a stop sign. Heartland Drive does not. And so those side street drivers are pulling out into oncoming traffic and getting hit.
Sounds like a 4-way stop would fix that.
4-way stop was considered. However, a 4-way stop can actually create a different type of accident potential. We would expect, given the traffic volumes and even some of the approach speeds, that we would see an increase in the rear end collision count. And even with traffic signals, as we talk about, anytime we're comparing traffic signals to roundabouts, you still have that situation where drivers may run a red light, a yellow light, or they simply may not see the traffic signal changing. And you still have a potential for very high severity T-bone or even head-on collisions. And in general, a roundabout really significantly reduces the chance of those high severity accidents. So that is why our preference at this intersection is a roundabout. And the opportunity to submit this grant did come up fairly quickly. And we do need to actually submit the application this Thursday. So, but as noted, we actually, if we're successful, we don't get the funds until next July. So if we get the funds next July 1st, we have 2 years after that to expend those funds. So we are comfortable that we can find a way to fund the improvement if we get the grant award.
I would like to add two things. There are 2 other roundabouts right in that area that have been very successful, I would say. And then this roundabout is coming out of Costco in and out right at the gas station.
Yes.
And I think anyone who's gone by there or used their gas station knows that there is high volume of cars. So I can see this roundabout helping that situation too.
Right. So beyond just the safety improvements that a roundabout can bring, you have to think about the volume of traffic that it can move and move safely. And the main reason it can do that is because it keeps traffic moving. If we put in a 4-way stop, we can remember what happened when we did a 4-way stop at 12th Avenue and Holiday Road. Huge backups every day. So out at this intersection, if we put a traffic signal in, we're still going to have many seconds of red time that traffic is simply stuck because they're looking at a red light. But by putting a roundabout there, it kind of helps, it can almost self-regulate based on the amount of traffic moving through there.
And I think it certainly helped with that blind curve that coming on Heartland Drive, going away from Costco. Because oftentimes
Absolutely.
people just speed through and
Yeah.
it's hard to see when you stop at that stop sign going out from the gas station.
Right. And it's one of those roads, you know, it's signed 35 miles an hour, but
People fly through
geometry
it.
allows you to drive faster than that if you choose to do so. So yeah, we're hopeful. And I'll mention too, you know, we've obviously applied for grant money for other intersection projects. But typically we maybe haven't been awarded grant money on those projects because they don't score well. And they don't score well because they don't maybe have the number of accidents that gets you more points. So that's kind of why this intersection in particular has kind of jumped up the list, because we have hard data and lots of data to indicate a problem, and that's where this particular funding source can help with it.
Where does First Avenue and Oakdale rank on that list of accidents?
That First Avenue, actually, it's
We've been talking about a
it's
roundabout
not-
there for
Yeah, it's not
10
in the
years.
top 10, and they don't really go down. We can actually check that ourselves using the data. We have access to that data. But frankly, that intersection, those temporary signals have been doing such a great job. That is why it scores very low when we've submitted that project.
there's
in
not
the
many
past.
accidents there
There's
anymore?
just not many accidents,
Yeah.
no. We kind of fixed a problem by doing temporary signals, but,
yeah,
so.
they work well, I will
Yeah.
say that.
That First Avenue in Oakdale is still, you know, is still high on our list, but again, this one really needs our
Yeah,
attention.
no, that's a great answer. Thank you, Scott.
All right.
Is
Oh,
there,
Yeah.
just one quick one, is there, like a guideline when it comes to roundabout, whether it's have 1 lane or 2 lane?
Yes, it really comes down to you have to look at a couple of things. It might be the peak hour volume and/or the annual daily traffic volume, the total volume going through there. There are some loose guidelines of when you need to go from 1 to 2. I can tell you that in general, we prefer to stay single lane now when we can, if at all possible. It just simplifies things for all drivers involved. And so, you know, a double lane may allow more traffic to move through, but a double lane would also potentially allow that traffic to move faster. So we steer towards the single lane roundabout if at all possible.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Quinn,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, urban renewal plan amendment and development agreement. So we have several steps to this agenda item. And this amendment will add a development agreement with rebates for IRL Parkview investments for Lot 3, IRL Parkview Plat 3 to the list of urban renewal projects. And we have a consultation report listed on the agenda.
Yes, we sent out a notice as required by the code to Johnson County and the Iowa City Community School District for a consultation on August 2nd. There was no attendance at that date and time, although I will tell you that I did receive a comment from the county today. I put in IRL, Lot 3, IRL Parkview Plat 3 on the property, and plat hasn't been recorded yet, so they did call on to Dave Johnson, and Dave Johnson provided them the information that showed where the IRL Parkview Plat 3 was. So they did get that today, and they just did comment that their comment was they didn't know where that was because they couldn't find it on the recorded site. So I just wanted to report that the county did make a comment to that. They did not show the consultation report, but we always take comments from anybody at any time. So that's the only, I had nothing from the Iowa City Community School District.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. All right. And next, we will open a public hearing on this item. Do we have anyone that would like to speak to us about this? And do we have any written comments?
No.
Okay, I'll close the public hearing and we'll consider the resolution.
Resolution approving amendment number 16 to the amended and restated Coralville Urban Renewal Plan for the Mall and Highway 6 Urban Renewal Area, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any questions or discussion on this? Okay, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And next item, we have a development agreement that outlines the responsibilities of IRL Parkview Investments and the City of Coralville regarding tax increment rebates. Could I have the resolution, please?
Resolution approving the development agreement with IRL Parkview Investments LLC is introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by. Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Questions on this item or any discussion? All right, roll call.
Councilmember Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And next item, so this one is going to be very fun and I think much anticipated. We are going to do a couple of overviews of some master plans from our Parks and Rec Department. And the first one will be the concepts for the new rec center, correct? So we've got two concepts to look at.
Thank you. I feel
Yep.
like I'm moving in. I had a little printing problem at the end of the day, so I had to just load things on the computer here. So yes, we're very excited to show these off in the council forum setting so that it can go out over our Coral Vision channel for people to take a look at. We have had so much fun getting a chance to reimagine what Coralville Recreation Center could become and how that would look at St. Morrison Park and how that functions for our residents of Coralville and our guests beyond our borders. We started this process, really, I think it was in August of last year. We approached council with an agreement to share costs and go into this master planning with the Iowa City Community School District as our partner and split that, I believe it was 60-40 with them. And they have been, side by side with us in this planning. Of course, they have been part of a 28E agreement since 1988 when we opened the indoor pool with the recreation center and added on to that. They paid a third of the construction costs at that time for the indoor pool, and they have continued to pay and to use a third of the time of the hours of the indoor pool. So they've been a partner not only in construction but also in ongoing operations. And anyone who knows anything about indoor pools, you need those partners to be able to make that budget work. So it's been nice to have them involved in this process as well. I wanted to recognize our core team with this particular project. Chase Ramey with the Iowa City School District, Associate Superintendent, Lucas Potasic, Executive Director for Secondary Schools, Mike Morrison, Athletic Director for Liberty High, and BJ Mayer, Athletic Director for West High. And then from the city, our participants were Kelly Hayworth, Amy Erickson, our Recreation Superintendent, and she also served as my co-administrator on this project, and then myself. So we were the core team. We met regularly, worked with Newman Munson, who was our architects, and Water's Edge, gave feedback. And then we also had a number of people that it would take too long for me to recognize them all here tonight. But we had over 70 people who were invited to community visioning and other types of meetings and workshops and focus meetings and stakeholder meetings. So I'm excited to have them all, and we thank them all for their participation. We began this process officially in October and wrapped it up with a public open house on June 11th. I just talked about community visioning sessions, focus meetings, stakeholder meetings, but we also had over 1,000 surveys collected through the process. Everybody from our current users to just residents in the community, as well as swimmers for both Liberty and West High, parents from both, and our local swim teams, our other local swim teams, and swim lesson participants. So we're excited to have a lot of input. I'm just going to run through and kind of show the pictures, because that's what everybody likes, is to see the pretty pictures. So what we're showing tonight is concepts for two different kinds of concepts. One is a complete new build of a recreation center, indoor pool and competition center, and the second is to keep the current recreation center, repurpose parts of it, and add on to it. Our consultants right away got busy looking at the indoor pool. That was our question, is what's the life of the indoor pool? A typical indoor pool, you really want to start looking at replacement. They're about 40, maybe 50 years if you've put a lot of work into it, and ours is coming up on its 40th birthday. So we want to make sure that we are ready for whatever was coming down the road, and what they recommended was to go ahead and build new. In terms of what we would do for the indoor pool. So regardless of either one of these plans, all aquatic facilities would be brand new, and in one of them we would repurpose that space into something else. So I'll go through the new build first. This image, and I'm going to play around a little bit. I don't want to get too zoomed too far out, because then it's hard for you to see detail. At the same time, we want to make sure I'm not making you sick scrolling up and down. This is how this would lay on the land here for a new build. Our parking lot, you can see the outline of the current recreation center. So as I'm outlining it here with the cursor, basically the west parking lot is where the current recreation center is. The new recreation center would be built to the east. And then there is a small parking area here on the east side in this plan. All of our, if you remember, we can do flat work over the high pressure gas line that runs through the park, runs up by the west side of the aquatic center, up through the baseball field, and up on through and over through the soccer field. So we cannot build across the top of this except for flat work like tennis courts and parking lots. Scroll down. There we go. So a new build is a little bit more of a compact design on the land, doesn't use as much space. 8th Street runs across the top here. So in this particular design, the aquatics portions are up against 8th Street. And then you come in, our main entrance from the west side of the building. You're served here at the counter. There's space to wait for rides, both inside a vestibule and inside here. You've got steps to the second floor. You come in, and the game room portion of what we kind of have now would look a little different. It would be throughout this long hallway area. And then you would have views into 3 basketball courts. So 3 courts across the south side, and then also hallway to a turf room or a soft play area here. Also has room for locker rooms, community spaces, and different things just to support staff. It does show also a number of ways that we could incorporate both having group locker rooms, but also a lot of individual gender-neutral bathrooms, gender-neutral changing areas, gender-neutral shower areas. Then you also can enter this particular one from the east side, and this is where the swim teams would come in every day. We have swim team in the building from the second week of August all the way until the middle of February. So they would come through, have their own passcode entry. If we didn't have somebody at a desk here, they could come in, access their locker rooms, would all be here. This is the competition portion of this pool. It is a pool that you're able to configure into 10 practice lanes running east and west, and 8 competition lanes running north and south, as well as a diving well for competition diving. Girls in the state of Iowa have competition diving, as we all liked watching that during the Olympics these last couple of weeks. And then so the pool would actually flip. You can have practice. You would have 6 lanes available while you're having diving practice. Right now, there are only 4 lanes available when you have diving practice, if you're going to have it at the same time, or if you have diving practice earlier in the day, a different time of day, you'd have all 10 lanes available. They have their own, they would have locker rooms, as well as a wet classroom, which could also be used for events, lifeguarding classes, birthday parties, that kind of thing here. Then down here, we would have a leisure pool, access, pay here at the desk, go to the pool through here. You'd have shallow, probably not completely zero depth water, but shallow water, play features, spray features. This is a hot tub. This is a current pool, which is really fun. You can clap on your noodle or something and do laps around, but you can also use this for fitness. It's it's a really fun water jogging experience to work against that flow. A slide is also in this plan that dumps into this, but also can be used for swimming lessons. Great shallower water for our younger kids. And then right next to it is a deeper body of water, similar to our shallow end, and then going up to probably around 6 feet here in this pool. We're not calling for deep water here in the recreational lap pool. We would have access to deep water in the competition pool. So there would be some sharing, and as well as we would be doing some sharing for warm up and cool down for all of their swim meets. We would be hosting just for the Iowa City Community School District alone, 32 to 34 swim meets a year is planned throughout those swim teams. And of course, we would host Northwest girls and boys, North Central girls and boys, West High girls and boys, and Liberty High girls and boys. So 8 swim teams into this pool area. We have been in the pool business now for over 30 years and have found that people really don't, when you're a community recreation swimmer, you really don't share a lot. You don't like to share a pool lane. And so we talked about that probably way more than we needed to talk about that. But one of the things we threw out there as we realized we needed to come within budget and get a little bit smaller pool was, why do we need 7.5 to 8.5 foot wide lanes? Why can't we have a 5.5 or a 6 foot wide lane and then just acknowledge that people like their own lanes, unless they are swimming with somebody that they regularly swim with? So we managed to still get the number of lanes that we were really pushing for, but just have some smaller lanes. So we're just trying to get creative in how we use this water. Of course, these are not drawn out with all of the details for the gyms, but they do have some showing that pickleball fits on the gyms, volleyball lines fits on the gyms, basketball, whatever we would like to put on the gym floors, you can do that. And we would have curtains that come down from the ceiling and separate them out, or it could be one all big long space. To access the gym, you can come down stairs, and I'll show just in a minute some views. But you can also use this hallway. This is a long ramp down and into the gym from this area. We really liked at Campus Rec and Wellness Center, they have concrete stairs. No food or drink can go underneath, or I'm sorry, bleachers. No food and drink goes underneath when they're all just solid concrete, and then they have cubbies in them that you can stick your things in underneath on the bottom. And so this is showing some of those concrete areas where people like to sit and watch, or they also like to hang out. Or our CNBC and junior high crowd would love something like this, because they get to be part of what's going on in the gym and still be able to sit, and sit and hang out in a really cool space. This part is the community, community rooms. We've incorporated indoor, outdoor rooms, so you could actually rent or schedule an indoor room and part of a plaza space, covered plaza space. This would replace the Hilltop Shelter, would bring our shelter right in within our roof line of the recreation center. We would have bathrooms to be here on the outdoor part as well. And the summer camp would also be able to use this and go in and out from a summer camp room. So they'd have everything they needed without, if you've ever seen summer camp move into the park every morning, it's quite a feat of wagons and bins and things that go with them. So we wanted to simplify how we're doing some of those spaces. So I'll roll down here to, this is done in just white medium. Nothing here has been done as far as the outside treatments but just to show kind of where maybe some windows would be, how that would sit on the land, what it would look like. This particular area here on the second floor, whoops, I should probably go up to second floor. Oops. Second floor is at the top here. When you go in, you can access second floor through an elevator at this end of the hall, the long space, or you can go up the stairs, and you can go upstairs here. So second floor has a track that loops all the way around the 3 gyms, as well as that concourse space, and looks over the pool space. It has activity rooms, exercise rooms here. It has the exercise area, all of the cardio equipment, weight equipment, everything here along the edge, also looking out over that pool space. And then you can go out onto, actually do yoga out on an outdoor patio, or have a meeting on the outdoor patio, or something along those lines. It also has restrooms up on this level. And then you go into the competition center, and this is where all of the seating is. And so there's seating for 400 up above on the second floor space for those swim meets that we will host. And it really gives you a great vantage point of being up and above and seeing your swimmer down below, as well as it's nice to have everyone up there and let the athletes concentrate. Right now, they're kind of all on top of each other in our pool. So it separates our competition athletes with our spectators. So that is an overview of the new build concept. It's gross square feet of 109,700 and comes out, these are rough numbers, to an estimated project cost of 50 to 55.4 million there. And we're in master plan phase, so there'd be a lot more work that would be done as we got into schematic phase and into early construction design documents. And then you can get an idea of roof line here. It does take advantage of the way that the land steps down from the east side of our park to the west side of our park, as well as from 8th Street down into as it goes south. There's a little bit of fall there as well. So that's new build. Would you like me to go through addition, renovation, or stop for questions?
Maybe stop for questions first, because I actually have one, and I can't really see it. Maybe it's on there, and I can't quite see it. But can you give us a little bit of an idea of the, like, because you mentioned that the Hilltop Shelter would be would be able to be kind of folded into this. So then what about, so the playground would stay where it is? Would that have to be moved, or?
Let me see if that's shown. The playground, this pad right here is the playground.
Oh, I see.
And would stay, and this is actually the small, like the swing area. So
Okay.
that is outside of the scope. The playground is something that we're looking at the cost of the playground. The playground's coming up on replacement. Just like Northridge and the ST Morrison playgrounds were put in a year apart and are both now at that 25, 26-year-old playgrounds where they're in need of replacement. So that's something we would look at with this project, at doing a replacement there. But we would keep Young Shelter, which is here, and then in this particular one, take down Hilltop, which sits around here, and then it becomes part of this corner. So you can see it's not very far away if you envision how the park sits right now.
Yeah. And I tell you what, the thing I've heard the most about is that walking track.
Yes.
Everybody, I want a walking track, but
Yes, walking track.
everybody's gonna be so excited about that for sure. And I love the inclusion of the gender neutral changing spaces and showers and restrooms. I think that's extremely important as well.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
It's a
it's-
lot.
Is the lazy pool, it's the size of it is, how is it compared to the University Recreation Center?
That's a good question. I don't recall that I don't have the exact square footage committed.
I didn't know if it's big or small,
Yeah,
or about the same size.
I think we're probably sitting just about the same size as their
That's pretty
pool. We
good
don't
size.
have there may be a little bit bigger because they have two lap lanes that kind of run almost a little bit at a diagonal in their pool, and where we've separated those out and put them in the same natatorium, but off into the recreational lap pool. And this is gonna be a great pool for swim lessons as well.
And will that lazy river, because the one at the university has the little well thing in it, like, or the little, I don't know what it is. Would that have this?
This is master
Yeah.
plan level. This is current channel right now is what we're calling it, and you would enter and be able to work the current or glide around with the current and then come back out again. On this one, you could set it up in different, you could set it up with an island here. You could set it up, so it doesn't have an island, but it's, just the currents around the outside, however you'd want to do that.
Other questions?
Sherry, with the new build, the current rec center would continue to function?
Right, so in both of these, in this.
I found this on the web. For one.
In this particular one, let me go back up to the top because it's easiest. They would actually build the entire recreation center here. We would move into it. We would have a parking crunch for a little bit of time while this came down and this was constructed. But if you remember, we have Northwest Junior High recently expanded their parking. And the school district is willing to be a parking partner because some of the high traffic volume times are really kind of swim meets, times when they're having activities that would happen here at the recreation center. We have on-street parking. We're very fortunate to have on-street parking on 14th, on 18th, as well as all of the parking spots that we have at the aquatic center, which is just less than 100 yards or less. It's about 80 yards walk from this parking lot up to the rec center.
Do you think the church would have any?
They may. People
yeah,
will find
any
parking.
ways,
Well, they'll
yeah.
find parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want that to be a burden on anyone. We want to be careful, but definitely having those conversations is great. And being a person we want to make sure we are very cognizant of those that can't walk very far and have enough handicap parking, have plans for people who need that. But at the same time, if you're a competition parent, I always planned on a 8 to 10 block walk for all of our competition things that my children went to. So if I only had to walk a block, I'd be ecstatic.
And essentially, we have more parking after
This would
that's
be more
all done,
parking.
right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This would be almost triple the amount of parking.
In the end, yeah.
In the end, yes.
Yeah.
Let me go to, so this is new build. We talked about costs and east and west side. So renovation addition, this keeps the footprint of the existing recreation center. So this is the existing, this gray box is the existing recreation center. And then we add on to the east, again, mindful of the fact that we can't go west because of that high pressure gas line. We would enhance and add on to the west parking lot that exists now. And then the main bulk of the parking would come in here on the east side on this particular model. You can see again, we're talking about that outdoor plaza space, the Hilltop Shelter going away and becoming part of the recreation center roof line. The playground still stays, and the small green, what's the young shelter stays there. The one thing that we are looking at right now is you can see we could keep this baseball diamond here if we needed to, but this baseball diamond was master planned back in 2009 to move to the youth sports park. And we have a rough graded area to build this baseball field there. And one of the things we're working on in tandem with this plan to bring to you for consideration is moving that baseball diamond to that park and making sure we have those costs accounted for. So in this particular plan, you can see the space here would get some renovation, but essentially stay a lot the same. This is our current access point coming into the building. Our current large gym, you can see taking out some spaces here to make this a more transparent wall between the game room, community space and here. The small gym would change into 2 fitness studios here, and we would still keep some storage. One of the racquetball rooms would turn into storage. We would still keep some of those community room spaces up here where the lounge is. We would have some staffing offices would remain on this end, and we would also have some offices that would move down into the new entrance. So in this particular one, you would come in the main door here on the east side. You would encounter our receptionist desk here. We would have some staffing here. And then this is the area, what we worked on with this one, and the other one is that we would have ways to lock this down and still be able to use the community spaces if we weren't open. Like right now, we're not open on Saturday nights. That's not to mean that we might not be in the future, but what if somebody wanted to have an event here at the recreation center on a Saturday night? So we've worked hard to try to also look at our revenue streams and how we can make sure walls and things could help us. Gates, walls, electronic locks could help us here. So you enter, you come down steps. Again, this is a climbing wall. I didn't point out in the other one, but it is a belay climbing wall here. You would enter into the 2 new gymnasiums, again showing how those courts might be lined out. Still have those concrete bleachers. I'm struggling for the name for bleachers tonight. And in this one, the big difference is as you continue, you would meet up about where you would enter. This is a boiler room right now, so we would enter past the boiler room. And this is the old pool part, and this would turn into fitness space, all of our cardio rooms, all of our weight rooms. That turf that we were talking about before, or soft play, would be here, or it could just be futsal court, and it could remain maple wood, and we would do our futsal court here, and then you could have also a second futsal court here, however you want to lay this space out. But basically, the indoor pool becomes a space that is now dry. It is a dry recreational space. And then still keeping the aquatics up here against 8th Street, being able to have those views out into 8th Street and people seeing the pool, entering and be able to enter those locker room spaces, having those both, and then you can also go and enter through the locker room spaces here. but be able to, basically, these are the same as we looked at before. Competition is a 10 and 8 style lane pool, and has the diving boards, diving wells, everything down here. We have wet classrooms, be able to have birthday parties, both in the deeper competition pool and in our recreational pool here. And then that this one, we actually pulled that community space out, and you could have both a community room, but then you can also have one out here underneath the plaza space. And we included those restrooms here. Big garage doors that could be thrown up is what we kind of envision with ceiling fans, not being a tempered space, and an air-conditioned door might be partially cool or partially heated, but not maybe to the same extent, but really creative, I think. When we told Newman Munson, like, this is what's in our heads, and this is the thing that I had to get over, was I had so much in my head that I would lay awake at night trying to figure out how to get it all out of my head and to them. And they were really great about then saying, just give it to us all and we'll figure it out. Because I kept trying to figure it out for them. Didn't work that way. So, and then second level, again, walking track over those gyms and looking into the pool and being able to go up. This faces a little bit different. Our competition space seating looked west before, now it looks to the north, and that just changes a little bit of how that lays out.
Still holds 400?
Still holds 400 people. And again, this says how it might look from the park playground, looking back towards the recreation center, so you're actually looking towards the northwest. It's 117,700 square feet, and with a cost of 52 to 56.2 million. This would, of course, include remodeling of all of the HVAC systems, the roofing systems, new treatments throughout the building as well. And to get an idea of our current, how these lay out in terms of our current size, we are about 38,000 square feet currently. So significantly larger. I think the community, either one of these, they're great plans. They've done a really nice job of listening. They did a really great job with our programming staff and hearing about the things that they'd like to offer but can't, the things that are full, they can't take any more into, as well as, we've always been committed to open gym and open space for our community, and not necessarily being programmed to every hour of the day. And so we really wanted, to make sure that that was still a priority in our planning. Any questions about the renovated and addition one?
I just want, sorry. I wanted to just make sure, and I'm, because again, it's kind of hard to see from here.
Yes.
But one of the issues I feel like with the current space is just that it's really hard to supervise because there are a lot of small spaces. So this one would still have that same kind of open plan as or would it have less of that kind of open feel?
You would have that in the new part. It would be hard to get that in the old part. The ceiling, we don't have the ceiling height. They wouldn't be adding ceiling height in the old part. Basically, the only part that gets opened up is the wall between the game room and the gym. And everything else, pretty much the walls stay a lot the same.
But even that
That helps.
is helpful.
It's helpful.
Because that gym probably gets a lot of use after school. I mean, in terms of like supervision, it would, even with that wall being kind of gone, or you would still have that supervision piece of it.
Yeah, one of our next steps here as summer winds down is to sit and take both plans and work out how can we supervise these plans, both of them, and say, okay, we think we need people here, here, and here, or can we do it a little differently? Can we use cameras? How do we do all of this? Yeah.
Is there anything that we have to forego as far as addition compared to building all new? Is there anything that we miss out, let's say if we go with one or the other?
I think both of them, we tried really hard to make sure that all the amenities were included. I think the only thing I can think of is we, when we did our benchmarking tours, we really loved a space that was in the Mount Vernon Recreation Center that was their turf room. In our recreation, in the one that's the addition renovation, you don't get that same turf soft play area that we would get in the new, but as far as like everything else, like we tried to make sure they were apples to apples as far as like how we made it happen in both pool area and in dry space.
And will you need to close for a while, some spaces, or how will that work?
A renovation addition on this one, the new space gets built. There would be a little bit more closure as far as like when we connect and how we move over and start functioning in that space. We would probably have to displace some staff for a little bit. There's just not enough space in the addition on this one. And then we close and renovate the other space.
Okay.
So there's a little bit, it's a little bit, but it's all just in how
But
you
you
plan
will
it.
remain open, it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
to me like, with the exception of maybe just when we make that connection, they put in all the doors and kind of make that connection, there might be a little bit of a closure with that. But what we're trying to do is not have swimming impacted at all from a district perspective and from a community perspective. Because we can move programming to our 3, now we have 4 in a few weeks opening with Clear Creek and Manna. We have 4 partnership schools where we have gym space that we can also temporarily move some programming out to. So we don't worry as much about recreational dry space as we do about that swimming space. There's no repeats for us in that.
And it looked like the addition have less parking space than the new.
I think they both. I think it's just how it looks on the mapping. I think they really were striving for around the same number. I could be wrong. I'd have to double check that for you, but I think they were just striving to get around that same number of spaces.
So on the renovation where the pool is, you're not really set on exactly what you're doing with the old pool, is that correct? You said that there's different types of floor plans that you could do there.
Yeah, you could do, so this, I guess, these are batting cages that drop. So this is turf area, and this is futsal court, and this is a cardio and weight equipment. So it's pretty set, but you could say, okay, we don't want turf at all, pull the turf out and do 2 futsal courts, or, it could be.
Can
The
you,
reason I
You've
ask
had-
is, sorry.
Is it futsal?
Indoor soccer,
Indoor soccer.
yeah.
Okay.
And again,
on
looking
some
at those.
turf then? That would be turf?
No, but it's on Maple.
It's on Maple,
It's on
okay.
gym floor, and it's really popular, and it's very rentable. So there's an opportunity, a revenue stream opportunity.
The reason I ask is because a lot of people have approached me about indoor skateboard park in the old pool. And there's been several kids, well, they're not kids anymore, but they're in their
Yeah.
mid-20s, but that have approached about that. One of the people that approached me is actually Coralville resident who goes around the United States and designs skate parks. And he just did one in Cedar Rapids. They just did one on the west side of Cedar Rapids off of, I think it's 8th Street. So, but yeah, I just thought, that was something that was brought up to me probably by, I know at least 10, if not more, about an indoor skate park.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Something to look at in terms of the square footage and how that pool currently, lays out. Is there enough space to get your kind of runs, your half pipes and everything in there?
Yeah.
Be kind of interesting.
They were looking at a design kind of like what's in Iowa City. how it's sunken down
Yep.
into the ground and not really like.
The outdoor one on
Yes,
Butte?
yeah, yep. And
But
just
this
kind
would
of-
be indoor, obviously.
It'd be indoor, but kind of same concept of where the old pool was, something in that sense.
Any
Anyway.
chances for revenue stream from something like that?
Good question. Well, I know that the people that spoke to me that were interested had ideas on how to raise money for it, so. But I don't know how much revenue stream unless it was competition type skateboarding, which there's a lot of that out there, so.
Any more questions?
Anything else?
So this project has been reviewed, this master plan has been reviewed and recommended to advance to council from the Parks and Recreation Commission at their July commission meeting. What we're asking this evening is that the council adopt this master plan. There's no choice about what you like better. It's just an adoption of the master plan in its entirety. And we do have those plans. We have a couple of printed copies if anyone's interested in looking at those in print. We'll also, I'm working to get those up on the city's website. But by adopting this master plan, we're declaring our intention to pursue a change in the recreation center in St. Morrison Park following the adopted master plan.
And these are also available to view at the rec center too.
Rec center, we have our
Yeah.
master plan foam core boards still out.
Yeah, so if you want to take a look, that's where you will see those. Awesome. Well, thank you for all of your work on this and all of the rec center staff as well. It's very exciting, and I know that this has been a long time coming, for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you want me to talk a little bit about next steps? Because we get that
Yeah.
question all the time.
You bet, yeah.
So next steps, we are doing several things to be able to provide you with the best information possible to make a decision. We're talking about that staffing plan. What do these two plans mean in terms of staffing and operational costs, for the next 50 years? We are working on what does it take to move that baseball diamond out of this park and up to the youth sports park. And third, we're taking our Fifth Street Civic Campus Plan, and what can we also incorporate off of the Fifth Street Campus Plan on the south end of the park to also just create this very new updated space for St. Morrison Park. And we'd like to have all these conversations done here into the early September, so we can start working with you on choices and conversations about which direction we'd like to go and how we fund it.
Cool. Anything else?
I hate to ask for more, but I love the idea of moving the park up to the youth sports park and hope that can happen. It does free up a lot of space here. We thought it all what we would do with it. Is that
We're
bridge
losing
too far?
we're losing quite a bit of space going from 38,066 parking spots to 100 and some thousand and about 200 parking spots. So this would become, part of the park, losing some space, recreational space along this side that I can see incorporating down here. We're trying to keep all of our ability to have the Fourth Fest concert still come off of this area, layout, be able to have all of this space to view Fourth Fest concert, and also to have the
Would we ever
fireworks.
build a permanent stage there of some type?
We, yeah.
Not thought about that, huh?
yeah,
It'll be
We-
great to have green space.
yeah,
Just
green
to
space
play.
is great, trees are
Just to
great.
play.
Permanent staging is, we have planned for the I River Landing Riverfront Park, so,
Yeah.
and you've seen over the years how we move our staging around, so
Yeah.
sometimes permanent staging just locks you in a way that maybe you don't want.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Are we ready for the resolution? Could I have that, please?
Resolution adopting the Recreation Center and Indoor Pool Competition Center Master Plan, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any final questions or comments?
Can we do green roofs? maybe.
Oh, we'd always want to do green roofs.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Knutson?
Aye.
Quinn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Goodrich?
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And we have another master plan to take a look at. This one is for the West Land Use Park.
We did. We came off of a great 150th and Ragbri celebration last summer, and we dove headfirst into master planning, and we've just had, it's just been a lot of fun and, looking into the future for Parks and Recreation, and just being able to dream is what I always encourage during the master plan process, that I'm not particularly worried about budget at the time. We want to put it all down on paper and then figure out from there what we can afford and how we can make it all happen. So West Land Use Park Master Plan was put together for us by Confluence Landscape Architects, who also has done a lot of work for us. They did the Civic Campus Master Plan, and they did the Youth Sports Park for us. In context, we are looking at 60 acres owned by the city of Coralville, just west of the Iowa Medical Classification Center and south of Forevergreen Road. So this is our 60 acres here that we own, and put together this purchase with state revolving funds, as well as several REAP grants, Resource Enhancement and Protection grants. And then we also were able to talk to the university about their acreage here, which is about 50 acres here. And this is owned by the University of Iowa and Board of Regents, and we're in the process of developing a 100-year conservation easement that allows the city of Coralville to maintain and treat their land as our own in our park planning and park development. And we already do this with 87 acres in the Clear Creek Greenbelt that we've done since 2000. I think I first met with the university in 2007. I think the official agreement has a date of 2011. So we're hoping to maybe shorten that process up a little time this time. But this would be really great. This would make this our largest park within the system itself, besides the Clear Creek Greenbelt, which is over 300 acres. And of course, Brown Deer Golf Courses, which is over 170 there. So context, that's where this sits. We started this process in November with a tour out here on a blustery day that ended with a snow shower, but it was still wonderful to get out and take a look at this land with our committee, and we wrapped this up in May. I talked already about where it's at and the different acreages here, but I want to talk just a minute because it was enough people I can mention and thank here publicly. We had a great community group here, very knowledgeable, who participated in this process. Mary Anson, Bruce Colony, which have represented the Colony family, of which we've bought some of their land. Keith Jones, Chad Libby, who lives in the development just to the north, which is actually a North Liberty development, but we want to make sure that they are represented in this process. Dex Sargent, Beth Saxton, also a Colony family member, Dua Tawil from our Parks and Recreation Commission, and Faye Vidito. And Mary and Faye have worked tirelessly in Washington County with Lake Darling, and have also been instrumental here in getting some things established as far as ecological restoration. I mentioned our consultants were Confluence, also joined by McClure and McClure Engineering. And then besides myself, Alex Bumeyer, and then I also like to include other people from other departments, and Amy Foster from engineering joined us on this particular process. So I was really impressed with the thoughtfulness of this committee as they worked through and considered our land masses here. We have fens, we have pothole wetlands, I guess is or depressions. We have lots of woodland vegetation. We have hillside prairie, and we have some steep slopes. So we have just a lot of really great features here, as well as nesting birds in different areas, box turtles, just a lot of really unique animals as well. We had great discussions about the impacts of people and pets on the land and how to best coexist, and also talked through and agreed that this park would be an excellent candidate for using goats to help maintain the woody understory growth and to be a home base for us to use it in other parts of our park system. So this, I'm going to walk through some of our mapping. We kept that in mind as we talked about how to separate people and pets, how to separate people and areas we didn't want people in, how do we close some of the park for restoration, for nesting season, for just making sure that this park is treated and not overused. So we talked a lot about that. We have 3 different types of trails in this park designed. We have the hard surface trail that kind of loops around the outside, makes sure people can get to the spine trail here. We have internal pedestrian walking trails, so that's here with the green, and areas where we will go up and over and stay out of fens or stay completely away from fens. And then we have pink, which is the areas that would be suitable for mountain biking. So we would separate, in this particular park area, we would separate pedestrian hiking and mountain biking, which we combine together in the Clear Creek Greenbelt. This particular mapping shows how we can restore parts of this park and what is needed. We have different pasture areas, prairie areas, fen areas, which we've been working on already. You've heard me talk about woodland restoration and using mechanical means with skid steers, fecon heads, forestry mowers, those kinds of things to keep the undergrowth was so heavy in this park area before we started that you would have to crawl through some of it when you went out to look at it. So we now have a plan where we would go through and do prairie savanna restoration, woodland restoration, riparian restoration, and then turf. These are really, this kind of mapping is really great for us to be able to go after grants. And so both in the resource enhancement and protection area and with EPA and other kinds of stormwater grants that Amy Foster works with, we're really hoping to jump right away into that kind of planning. And then we also had them design a nature center here in this park, something that can be very educational. We can bring buses of school children to this place and have the education center, nature center, a nice deck overlooking the park space, grassy areas to be able to lead programming, but also that goat barn and places for them to be, plenty of parking for that kind of programming around the outside. To access this park, it takes the development of continuing University Parkway over. There's a planned roundabout in that area, and then it goes to the north from there, but we would need a spur of what would be future Jones Boulevard to come down and be able to access that nature center here. So that's included as part of the cost estimate on this particular park. Cost estimate. They did a really nice job of breaking this down into different bites total. If we were going to do this all in one shot, their cost estimate right now is a little bit with construction, design, and contingencies, $9.4 million. But what they've done is made it possible for us to look at these in different chunks. We can look at this from an ecological restoration standpoint and get grants for that. We can look at park and trail amenities and find ways to fund that. And some of those trails are soft surface mowed. It just takes us clearing and mowing. So those won't cost a lot. The nature center and park improvements, you can see is just under $3 million there on that number. And then that $300,000 access road to get to where the nature center would be.
That's assuming the roundabout's already completed.
That's assuming the roundabout's completed. And that's part of a private development discussion that's going on. Again, web page is in process, so we're hoping to get that up here very soon. Some of these files are very, very large, so we're trying to figure out the best way to load those or connect them to YouTube, or how do we do that. This was presented at the July Parks and Recreation Commission meeting as well, and recommended to move on to council consideration. And what we're asking tonight is to just adopt this master plan, and by doing so, declare the intention to pursue park development following that adopted master plan.
Awesome.
So exciting.
All right, well, let's read the resolution and then we can chat. So, resolution, please.
Resolution adopting the West Land Use Park Master Plan, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. All right, so, okay, who's gonna take care of these goats? That's like my first question.
We're just renting them, right? We're
Do
not.
we- Well, there's a
building-
barn, right? You said there's
No,
a.
This would be to have them.
Oh, to have
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, goats is
Yeah.
pretty easy
Yeah.
to take care of.
We would need a goat herder.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
right?
we would-
Yeah.
Yeah, we would work it into our maintenance plan.
Okay.
This would give us a great west side location. Right now, we spend a lot of gas going back and forth between Operations Center, which is essentially down very near here to City Hall, and out to this, out to West Side. So this would give us a, not only just to serve this park, but a place where we could jump off some people, put a park supervisor, jump people off for West Side maintenance. We'll have some other park areas in the Westland use as well, so.
And that would also, maybe you said this and I missed it, but would that nature center be staffed?
It could be. In the
Okay.
master plan process, we've talked about having volunteers, we've talked about, could you, there's all kinds of opportunities for educational, for field trips, for, summer camp use, for anything like that. So, we really haven't gotten as far as, would it be a full-time staff member all the time, or would it be, used by different divisions of Parks and Recreation and scheduled in that way. The one thing we did talk about was that the committee did not feel that this wanted to be a rental space, because we could very much see it's beautiful there, but the impact of having, if this was another Northridge Pavilion, that probably isn't the use that we wanted there. So that was part of the conversation.
I really appreciate the separation between the bike and the walking and the, that's gonna make a lot of people happy.
Other questions?
This reminds me a little bit of Hickory Hill in Iowa City, which I think is a tremendous resource, except you're doing a lot more amenities. Do you think it'd be comparable to that a little bit? Eventually, when we build around it and you have all these areas that these neighborhoods that can access it easily, and it's kind of enmeshed in the community, yet it's a huge park, it's.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I think it might look a little bit like that, without having another map up to the west here. This is all development land, by a family, and then to the south could remain some type of park or preserve. So we could get all the way down to Oakdale Boulevard, and not have any development between there and the park, so.
Yeah, we just approved a development, though, that's just south of here, that would be able
South
to.
of Oakdale.
Yeah, that would be able to access this very easily.
Other questions? All right. Are we ready to vote?
Let's do it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Knutson?
Aye.
Wynn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Goodrich?
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Thank you very much, Sherry, for all of that wonderful information. Okay, let's move on to the next item. Taxicabs. This is the second reading of an ordinance that would reduce the number of required licensed taxicabs and licensed taxicab drivers from 4 to 2. Could I have the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 2024-1005, an ordinance amending Chapter 127 of the City of Coralville Code of Ordinances 2011 as previously amended regarding taxicabs, introduced for adoption and second consideration by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Questions or comments on this item? All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wynn,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, make sure I've got the right one, yes. Iowa River Landing Amendment to Lease. This second amendment to the Wine Styles lease agreement extends the term of the lease to June 2025 and at its current location and adds a mutual option to extend the lease an additional 4 years. Could I have the resolution?
Resolution approving an amendment to lease agreement with Iowa Wine LLC, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Questions or discussion? All right, roll call.
Councilmember Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, Forevergreen Road Extension. This agreement will extend the deadline to construct an extension of Forevergreen Road on the parcel conveyed to the city from the Ruth E. Rarick Trust. Could I have the resolution, please?
Resolution approving an agreement with Ruth E. Rarick Trust regarding the extension of Forevergreen Road, introduced or adopted by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Knutson. Questions on this item?
I think we had a meeting recently, kind
We had a.
of a little bit
we
related
had
to
a
this
discuss-
topic.
We had discussions with the parties involved up there, sort of made some progress, but we wanted to make sure that we had this in place to keep the status quo until we could get everything finalized, so
Yeah, see where it goes.
maybe steps in the right direction, don't know.
Okay.
Other questions? All right, roll call.
Councilmember Goodrich,
Aye.
Knutson,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And finally, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Madam Mayor, I would like to ask council to consider a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented, A to Z.
Moved by Wynn, could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Knutson,
Aye.
Wynn,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Consent calendar is approved, all ayes. All right, next item, city administrators reports.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things I'll just touch on real quick. First, I just wanted to thank all the vendors, performers, volunteers, city staff that helped with the Fifth Street social event. Another great event, well attended. My family attended as well, and everybody seemed to be enjoying themselves. So that was great to see. And then I'll just give a quick update on our two major road projects. The first one will be the First Avenue and I-80 interchange, better known as the Diverging Diamond interchange. The two off-ramps, the pavement is complete. There's still some work remaining, things like pavement markings that have to be complete. But we do think that both of the off-ramps will be essentially in their fully functioning form by the first home football game on August 31st.
Have there been any accidents along there, man? Those are kind of dangerous right now.
There have not that I'm aware of, no.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Big news for this week. By the end of this week, we expect the new Magellan Terminal driveway to be in full operation. Right now, tanker trucks can actually go into the site coming off of First Avenue, but we don't have the permanent signals working yet that would allow them to exit. But by the end of this week, we should see that new driveway open, fully function, and then immediately the contractor will continue working on that raised center median that's extending south on First Avenue towards East 9th Street. That center median is then what basically blocks off the ability of northbound tanker trucks turning left into the existing Magellan driveway. They will have to continue north, get into a dedicated left turn lane, and enter the new Magellan terminal. So that's, this is one of the bright spots of this entire project. is enhancing how the tankers move on and off First Avenue. So we're excited to reach that point. Hopefully also by the end of this week or early next week, the rest of the bike trail lights on the north side of the interchange will be operating. And as we look forward to the start of the UI fall semester and also the football season, the contractor is committed that on home football games, we will have 2 northbound lanes through the entire interchange. Right now, we are still down to 1 through a portion of it, but no matter what happens, come Saturday, home football game, they will open up additional lanes as much as possible. So things are looking really good out there, and I think we'll rapidly start to see all the traffic control devices start to pull off here in the next few weeks. Jump over to 5th Street. So had
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
on that
go ahead,
one?
sorry.
The Magellan light
Yes.
also goes into the IRL the other way, but
Yes.
we're not going to open that up just yet.
Correct. River Landing Place connection will be one of the last pieces that actually opens.
Okay.
And some of that is simply a matter of providing access to the entire work zone for the contractor. They've been doing a lot of staging work on the northwest side of Von Mar on that old gravel road. And so that allows them to get in and out. So yes, that will be towards the end. So jumping over to 5th Street project, last Friday, the contractor paved the main line section of Phase 2B. So most of the current phase is now paved. Also, this morning, or this afternoon, they poured the first part of that 20th Avenue corner fix that I talked about last meeting and sent out on the press release. Fortunately, they were actually able to add a little bit more work and take one of the sequences out of the equation here. So that will actually speed up, even though we did lose a day to rain. So still looking good to have that open either later this week or early next week. And then they also expect to complete a majority of the 18th Avenue intersection paving tomorrow. So a lot of big steps here over the past week on the 5th Street project. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you very much. Mayor's report, I really don't have anything tonight. I was just going to do a similar shout out to the 5th Street Social. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you to Parks and Rec staff, all city staff that, police, fire, everybody that helped get that all set up. And it was a gorgeous evening and great music. It was a lot of fun and looking forward to it next year as well. A city attorney's report.
I have nothing.
Nothing.
All right, great. Committee and council members report. We'll start down at this end.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to echo what's been said about 5th Street Social. I thought it was a beautiful night. My knee felt good enough so I could volunteer, and I have to give Lori and her husband Jim a shout out. They went and replaced me essentially in ticket sales, I guess, and they walked there from home, which was over 3 miles each way. I'm glad she survived it. Not sure I would have, but I was very impressed, saving the planet one step at a time. Thank you, Lori. That's all I have. Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Why did you do that?
It was a beautiful evening.
It was gorgeous.
It was a nice.
That's wild. That's awesome,
Needed
though. Good for you.
exercise.
That's great. Okay, Councilmember Nguyen.
I have nothing tonight,
All
Madam
right.
Mayor.
How about you?
Yeah, so got to experience my first national night out. Hit 5 of the 7 neighborhood parties. Somehow we got disconnected after the 4th one, but I got tied up on the 5th one and had to go get gas. So in my truck, I was running out of gas. But anyway, got to talk to a lot of people. It was very fun. I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, didn't get to do the Saturday night thing. Had a wedding to go to, but my son and his girlfriend did, and really enjoyed it. They walked down. They actually, I guess I'm a bad father because I didn't tell him about it, and they heard the music from our house, and actually had it on Snapchat where they walked down there and just followed the music until they found it and had a great time. But anyway, and one last thing. I also belong to the Foundation for the Trades, and we had a fundraiser at the golf course on July 30th, and it was very well attended. We had some rain halfway through, got stopped, but we raised $50,000 that day for the foundation. And I thought the staff did a great job, especially during that hour of being rained into, came into the restaurant area and kept everybody well-fed and hydrated, I guess you'd say. And then got us back on the course. So they did a great job. It was seamless. So that's all I have.
Awesome, thank you. And last but not least,
Well, I feel like it was a Parks and Recreation night tonight. Thank you all the work that the Parks and Recreation does in so many different areas. And I did enjoy, of course, the Fifth Street Social, and just thinking about both Fourth Fest and Fifth Street Social, it brings out such a diversity of people. And I really appreciate that in Coralville, just such a variety, and everybody comes together, and a great time to visit with all kinds of people. Another activity that's coming up is the first responders are having a meet and greet, and that will be at Dunn Brothers Coffee on Saturday, August 17th, 9 to 12 p.m., and you can visit with your fire department, firefighters and police, and all first responders, EMS people probably there too. It'll be a fun time out in the parking lot at Dunn Brothers Coffee. I think that's all I had to say. Yeah.
all right.
Oh, Fry Fest. I knew there was one more thing. Fry Fest is coming up August 30th, and please attend, and also if you'd like to volunteer, please go on their website, and there's lots of opportunities to volunteer. Thank you.
Excellent, fantastic. All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Knutson, can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.